VonAllen Sports.
Tampa. You think they'll go? They're related because one is you think Tampa's going undefeated because I kind of think Tampa's going undefeated. Patriots versus Tampa. Oh, by the way, I think that's going to be a bloodbath. I think that's going to be like 52-3. Like Brady is going to stomp Bill Belichick's defense.
Will they go undefeated? No. 17 games in a row? No. That takes the kind of discipline that took.
Was Tom Brady, who was the quarterback.
But not alone. I mean, not alone. There's a lot of mental toughness there for everybody and the coaching staff. And I'm sorry, but that coaching staff is not.
The coaching staff is not truly matter that much. Tom Brady is the reason that the coaching staff does whatever it does. When he was in New England, he was the player development person because Belichick kept giving him not sorry players, but just guys. Except for Randy Moss and those years he got Rob Gronkowski for the first 3 titles or whatever. All of those dudes were just guys, and then Tom Brady made them better.
Yeah, but here's the thing. To go 17-0, to win every game, every single week.
I think that's my pick.
This Bucs team is not the 07 Patriots.
They're better.
Thing.
Personnel-wise, they're better. Personnel-wise, they're way better.
Here's what
I'm starting to think that Bill Belichick is overrated.
Tom Brady doesn't schedule the practices. Tom Brady doesn't give out fines when you're late to keep everybody focused, okay? Tom doesn't have anything to do with pulling up people in the meeting room and calling people out after they just had a huge win. Those things is what's required to mentally stay focused every week for everybody. Defense, special teams, even the coaching staff has to be disciplined. Tampa Bay is not built like that.
Last year without doing that.
Winning the Super Bowl is one thing. Winning every single game without failing at all, ever, it's just, dude, it's so hard.
Like, there's a difference. When you play with Tom Brady, you don't have bad habits because you no longer want to do them. Tom Brady makes you want to change your ways. Like,
I'm not disputing that Tom doesn't influence people, even the defense. The defense believes they can win, so they try harder, and you believe more. If their quarterback was Rex Grossman, do you think the Bucs defense would be so opportunistic and take risk? Hell no. Tom influences in that way, but we're talking, that's one thing, influence the team to win a Super Bowl, absolutely. But every single week to not miss a beat, to not fail at all, not one game, not drop one game, that is so insanely hard.
I think, Bill Belichick is the guy who let a backup quarterback score 40 points in a game in the Super Bowl. To me, Bill Belichick is highly overrated in this analogy you're giving to why they can't go undefeated again.
Do you know why the Bucs were able to beat the Saints in the playoffs, but they lost to them twice so badly? Because when you lose, you look at all of your mistakes. But when you win, most coaching staffs don't really care about your mistakes. Belichick, they could win 50-0, all right? And he would be pointing out the things you did wrong as if you lost. And that's the kind of attention that you need, the kind of humbling that you need on a week-to-week basis. And as far as Belichick's decisions that you're referring to, you're talking about bad coaching moments versus a 20-year work of always doing the right thing and then a few bad moments.
I think the right thing was only made because Tom Brady was there, and no matter what decision he made, Tom Brady just made it right.
I love Tom Brady more than any athlete ever in history, but you've got to have coaching. You've got to have a good coach. You've got to do what they did. You've got to. There's more to it than that. Absolutely more to it.
I think he's a horrible GM. I think his things on head coach get covered up by Brady.
Okay, but let's keep in mind that Brady became Brady under Belichick's way.
I believe Brady became Brady because Brady studies, and Brady would have became Brady anywhere. And Brady made Belichick more than Belichick made Brady. Belichick would have never became a Hall of Fame head coach under anyone else. Brady becomes a Hall of Fame football player at this point, I believe, no matter where you would have put him. No matter what team you would have put him on.
Now you have a good argument here that's not as insane. Okay, so let's say that Tom Brady never arrived in New England and he was at another team, okay? As long as Brady was given the opportunity and the chances, and what I mean by that is to compete for the job. Some teams won't even let you compete for the job. So you can't do nothing about that no matter how good you are. if they won't let you even try to shine. But yes, Brady had a better chance of still being great and still being a great quarterback somewhere else than Bill did if Brady never came along. And the reason is because it wasn't working. It wasn't working in New England, and he was on the verge of being fired again. But Brady comes in, and Brady makes the right decisions and does what he's supposed to do, and then that changes everything. So yeah, just based on the trajectory of, because that would have meant that Bill would have had 2 teams he's been fired from in his history. So he probably would have spent the rest of his career as a defensive coordinator.
I think he would be back as a defensive coordinator by now.
That's very possible, okay, because of that reason. But over the last 20 years, when you can't count everything together, the way you talk about Belichick is so over the top. It doesn't even make sense, Jalen. It doesn't. Okay, but Jalen, also, let's not forget that Baltimore Ravens team that went on to win the Super Bowl, the architecture of that whole organization and what that team was becoming, and even the GM that is now a Hall of Fame GM, we all know he's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Belichick picked him, and he should have picked somebody to be the GM in New England because he really
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Dude, every Patriots fan agrees with this, I think. Bill the GM screws over Bill the coach when it comes to offense. But they're the same. Offense, yes, he's his own worst nightmare. But defense, he's not. He knows how to pick defense. He knows how to put it together. There's nobody better. Okay? There's nobody better. There's nobody who's ever been better.
At defense?
Oh, dude, come on. It's not even, yeah, who? 6 rings, dude. 9 Super Bowl appearances, 13 championship games, 20 years of excellence. No matter who your quarterback is, that is still almost, it is impossible. Look how great Peyton Manning was. Look, he could only win 2. There's so much that goes into it. You have to have both. Montana needs Walsh, okay? Montana needs Walsh. Walsh in Montana, when there was no longer Holmgren, then Favre isn't getting to Super Bowls. He's not winning MVPs anymore.
Oh,
Tom Brady's an alien, Jalen. Okay, he's an alien. All right. Having 7 rings is retarded.
And the way I see it is Bill Belichick stopped him from being to go to all sports in general, and they would have his name, his face as the first one on the Mount Rushmore, with like Tiger Woods or Muhammad Ali or whoever else you have as the GOAT of any sport. Bill Belichick basically screwed him over from being that by screwing up all of 3 of those Super Bowls. Bill Belichick kind of pissed me off. Sorry.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm the first one to say that Eagles Super Bowl, the decision making after halftime, I don't fault him for the first half. You go in thinking that this is what you're going to do. But after he saw evidence that Eric Rowe was complete trash, you throw anybody in there. I don't care who they are. Especially if Malcolm Butler's dressed. I don't care what the reason is. I don't care why he got in trouble, whatever. After watching what Eric Rowe was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was Belichick's mistake, not making the change at halftime. I completely agree with that. Okay. But that's one bad mistake, one event. But what about Super Bowl 53?
It's in the most important game of the year. That's why it's an egregious mistake to me.
I know. But what about Super Bowl 53, though? Did he not make up for it?
Which one? Huh?
A year later, did Bill did he not make up for that bad mistake in 52 and 53?
I don't believe you make up for one loss of a Super Bowl by winning the next one, especially since I think Tom gets more credit for winning the next one than Bill did. Because I believe whichever team Tom Brady was on was going to win that Super Bowl. Both of those defenses held those teams to like under 17 points because the score was what, 14-3? So when you say did he make up for it by holding the next team in the Super Bowl by 10 points? Not really.
3.
Huh?
3.
Okay. 3 points.
3 points, Jalen. Mm-hmm. The Rams offense that year, that was freaking insane. Okay.
It also doesn't make up for the perfect season he let go. It came down to like that drive where when Rob Gronkowski caught the ball right on the goal line or whatever, and Tom made that happen.
I think Super Bowl 53 is Belichick's masterpiece. It's the greatest thing he's ever done, even better than what he did against the Bills, and that is in the Hall of Fame. I think Super Bowl 53 is the most ridiculously dominant thing I've ever watched Stephon Gilmore should have been the MVP of that.
I still don't think
game.
Stephon Gilmore should have been an MVP. If you get an MVP as a defensive player, they would have to score 14 points as a defensive player. For Stephon Gilmore to get it as a defensive player, he would not only have to make that interception, he would have had to run it back for a touchdown and then do it again, and that would have to be in a walk-off touchdown.
Because Stephon Gilmore isn't just on him alone, it's a representation of the defense. So he would be representing the defense. Dude, 3 points,
yeah,
Jalen.
But when you get to a defense,
we stalled out every single time. We couldn't even get to the red zone. We couldn't get to the red zone.
He's the reason that you guys didn't end up with them on your red zone a bunch of times or whatever, because the drive didn't stall out at the 10. Okay, so Julian Edelman was the most important player. We're never going to agree on this. James
Johnson says a $5 super chat. He says, I am speaking to someone who had an undefeated 11-0 football state championship in high school. It was a 2019 overtime win. Wow. And as you know, even in high school, it took everybody. Everybody had to be on point. To go 17-0 next year, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go 17-0, you've got to be perfect every week. You cannot rest ever on, oh, we had a good game. There are no mistakes, none. It's just so hard. How many teams have played flawlessly but always lose one? No matter how good they are, there's always that one game that they just screw up. Something happens. Something always happens. It's just way too many variables. Way too many variables. You also need luck on your side. To go undefeated, you need luck. Guys, I can bring up the 07 season right now. Remember the Baltimore Ravens game? The Ravens almost beat us. In fact, maybe they should have. But we got out of there. We got away with it. But that wasn't easy. That was close. That was way too close for comfort. You see how easily that could have been derailed. Or what about when we were playing the Colts and Peyton had the ball last? I mean, how many times does Peyton not make that mistake? Or he gets stripped? How many times does Peyton normally make the play? That could have been the end right there. And then they could have been the ones that went undefeated. Who knows? There's so many things involved, so many factors. It's just unreal. James Johnson, $10 super chat. Awesome, guys. Thanks. He says, the people who don't like Super Bowl 53 are the kind of people who forgot that there are 3 phases to the game. Absolutely. They also don't appreciate or recognize the importance of defense and special teams. Well said, James. Very well said. I've always made the argument, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will remember me saying this. This was in 2019. Tom was still a Patriot. We finished 12-4 that year. Everyone was speculating about Tom leaving. And you guys remember what I said. Whatever happens from there, if one of them leaves and they get separated, whatever the other one does by themselves is still victory by proxy to the other guy. Tom brought everything he knows to Tampa Bay. He changed them. He walks in the doors and the whole team is different. How many of us were watching Tampa Bay Buccaneers games going, that's a Patriot thing. Look at that. You know, we're constantly doing that. We see it. Why is he talking like that in the interview? That's a Patriot thing. What's up with that defensive formation there? I've seen that before. Where have we seen that before? New England. Where have we seen that offense that they're changing up right there? Oh, we've seen that before too. Okay. So Tom brought not only the plays and things like that, but he brought a mentality. He brought a work ethic. And that's also Belichick's victory. That's also, Belichick is like your father. You know how your father feels proud when the son does something? He's like, I helped him. I coached him up. I got him here to this point. I feel I'm a proud father. Belichick is like the proud father in a way, and by proxy, he is a part of this. And vice versa. So Belichick, if he gets these Patriots, well, I'm sure he will get this Patriot team playing good. But Tom helped Belichick win those 6 Super Bowls. And those 6 Super Bowls gives Belichick the clout to stick to his way, the Patriot way, to be hard on these guys and to be able to talk to them a different way than most coaches wouldn't be able to get away with, right? That was earned by winning those rings. And those rings were won with the help of Brady. So anything that goes down right now in New England in the future is also because of Brady. And anything that Tom does is also with the help of Belichick. And that's how I see it. And we can argue all day about the percentage of who did what, but they're universally linked together. They're tied together. You can't change that. You can't. Nothing you say is going to change that. They're always linked. 20 years, guys. 20 years together. They are each other. Everything they think and everything they do was built together. During Tom's career in New England, and this was told to us by a guy who did play for us and was Tom Brady's backup for a short time. And, he said, there's one thing you weren't allowed in, and it was Brady and Belichick's meeting. So they had a private meeting. Nobody else was allowed. Nobody. Just those two. Coordinator wasn't in there. In fact, Tom will go and see the coordinator separately later on, but it was just him and Bill. And it was the only dynamic that was like that. These guys were in a room coming up with shit that nobody, it's like totally private. You're doing that for 20 years? 20 years together? You're telling me that person is not a part of you? That person, come on. Tom Brady made Belichick a better coach, and Belichick made Tom Brady a better player. All right? It's a dynamic that is linked. It happens at the same time. It rises together. That's how it works. It just drives me crazy that people don't understand how the two are linked, and they keep trying to separate them. Oh, does Tom Brady win the Super Bowl prove that it was all Brady? But you remember at the beginning of the season when Tampa Bay got stomped by the Saints and the Patriots won and beat the Dolphins? Remember what everyone was saying? Does this prove that Brady was a system quarterback and it was all Belichick? After 1 week. So imagine if it was reversed. What if the Bucs didn't make it to the playoffs, but the Patriots did and won the Super Bowl? Well, they'd be shitting all over Tom. It's all or nothing for these people. But that's not how it works. You're not together for 20 years and not have a part of that person. Not only is that person in your football mentality, that person is a part of your life. It's a part of who you are. Like it or not, that's just how it is. That person has impacted you. So all this shit about separating them. Who was more responsible? Who cares?
VonAllen Sports.